Welcome. This is top tier tips. Greetings everyone, this is Force Nature and I welcome you to the second part of my Raidou guide. Alright, from here on out, I'm going to make the assumption that you've watched everything in the first part of the Raidou guide. If you haven't, I want you to stop what you're doing right now, go to that video, click on it, watch it, then come back here. Alright, you finished? Good. Now come back to the video. Alright, before I go on, I just want to give a shout out to Onryoki and Destruction Bomb for helping me out with understanding how Raidou works, because without their assistance I'd probably be pretty lost without his character functions and just spamming projectiles. Alright, I'll also leave a link down below to Destruction Bomb's guide on how to do the 623p Thunder God EWGF fist move, basically that move right there. So yeah, go check it out if you want any reminders. But from here on out, I'm not really gonna focus too much on like execution related things, so you can go back and check out that guides if you want to just get some kind of like little tips on anything to try and have an idea on how to approach his more difficult moves. But anyways, let's just get right into this. I will let you know right now that Raidou is pretty slow. He's one of the slower characters in the cast, and that his movement speed is honestly some of the worst in the game. Like his movement is just kind of well, like I said in the first part, it's kind of stubby. So it's going to be a little hard to play a kind of like a footsie game with him or anything like that. His general playstyle is considered to be it's considered to be a bit of a zoning type character. Essentially, one big thing you want to be doing with the character, especially like at range, is getting your opponent to respect your 1 P+K chargeable projectile move. It is blockable. Like, some people may think it's an unblockable, and if you're fighting an opponent that thinks it's unblockable, then just spam that shit against them. But once the opponent kind of respects that, they're going to want to try and get in on close range. The thing about Raidou is, like, with like Korean backdash or anything, like his Korean backdash is terrible, and his backwalk is around the same, but like it's just movement speed in general is just not really that good. So you're gonna have to try and do what you can to try and like knock the opponent away. The thing about Raidou is once you do get your offense started with them, whether you stun with like something like 9p P+K, then he actually can be pretty scary, because after the 9p or after either of these moves, you should have enough frame advantage to launch right away. So, and as you kind of saw with some of the combo demonstrations earlier, that Raidou's damage output can be pretty hefty and even potentially lucrative based on the environment. So yeah, generally your opponent's not going to get want to get stunned by Raidou. Alright, let me just put on the awesome thing in DOA 6 that is called the move details, or which they call the skill info box in this game. And right now you're going to see that his 9p, his up forward punch, is 14 frames. And gives you a plus 36 nosebleed stun, and it also has 23 frames of recovery. So this is a great move for trying to get your offense started. If your opponent blocks at your -5, which is completely safe from punishment, you can, if you really want an option to do it, you can just simply do a fuzzy guard. So right there, which is just simply a 3-3 block or down forward guard. Another option that you can use to try and get your offense started is his P+K. This one gives you a plus 26 standard stun, plus 26, and the major difference is that it's 2 frames faster than 9p, so it's 12. The same recovery frames, 23. The difference is that this one is unsafe on block at -8, although it has short block stun, so your opponent needs to be really on point in order to punish it. But if you're really worried that your opponent might go for any sort of like a neutral throw or a forward throw to try and punish you, you can just do 9p, which is like just fully safe from punishment. You don't have to worry about anything except for grappler characters that possess a 4-frame neutral throw, but that's honestly not really that common. So basically, after you stun someone with either like a 9p, P+K, or even 6, not at the wall, 6pp, then you could generally kind of launch like right away. I mean, well, the exception is 6pp. You would have to connect that one on counter hit. Right there, you get plus 20. You get a gut stun on counter hit, so but for either like 9p or p plus k, either one of those, you could basically use like any of your launchers, like you could pretty much use like any of your launchers right away. Another thing that's nice about Raidou, he's got to be, I think he's going to be one in the few characters, like from all the characters I looked at, I don't think there's any other character that could set up his bound like pretty much right away. That was on like counter hit, but I think even on normal hits he could set up his bound, like just simply doing, he can always do his bound here. So his bound is off of a 15 frame mid kick launcher. So I mean, like, let's let you know right now that this, you could use this as an Abare move if like after you end up, after the opponent does something that leaves them at negative and you think they're gonna push a button, just do that, and you can basically set up a bound. You can get like a free break below attempt, for instance. I'll just say a nice attribute about Raidou is he is effectively the fastest heavyweight character in DOA 6. Alright, he's packing an 11 frame jab, 13 frame elbow, 13 frame 2p, that's 13 frame 2p that is +1 on hit, which is really good. He's got a 14 frame 6k, which is +4 on normal hit, and a 15 frame 3k, which has follow-up. And like 6k is also follow-up. So Raidou has nice speed in close. And if you really, and if you're fighting someone that has like a 13 frame like mid or anything, I mean, and technically including someone like Ayane, Raidou actually has his own flip kick DP like move. I mean, he's a freaking heavyweight character with a 12 frame flip kick. So I mean, like this move right here, it does 45 damage, so it will beat out pretty much almost all other type of like 12 frame moves. Like, I mean, there's very few that I could possibly think of that would beat this out. So anytime you think the opponent's gonna do some sort of like slow mid, you can use this as an intercept. Except for, like most flip kicks, it's also stupidly unsafe on block. So it's one of those things where you toss out when you're pretty much certain it's gonna hit. Being a flip kick, it does have like crush properties, so it will destroy, like, it will destroy 2Ps or anything like that. But this move here is, I mean, if I'll just say right now that Raidou is, in general, is not really that good at dealing with pressure. So just simply having this move can occasionally, if you use it when you know that your opponent's going to be kind of like pushing buttons when they don't necessarily like have advantage, I mean, or anything, or if you know you're going to intercept something a little slower, then just having this move can make the opponent kind of think twice about like mashing stuff out or anything like that. But yes, at +31 on, at -31 on block, the opponent can basically punish you with like almost whatever they want. They can do their biggest throw. They can even like go for a big stun or even potentially launch you based on their options. So you have to be a little careful with that. In fact, with regards to dealing with pressure, wanting to get your offense started, having a 13 frame 2p that is +1 on normal hit is actually pretty damn awesome. What that means is your jab becomes 10 frames. Your elbow becomes 12 frames, and if you do another 2p, it'll be count as being like a 12 frame move, and your 6k would end up being 13 frames, but I would just mostly recommend going for the elbow. So yeah, so using this to get out of pressure is really nice. Alright, for the close range pokes you're going to be using in close, you're generally going to be using your P, your 6p, 6k, 4p, and also your 7p. Alright, so I'll just let you know these moves, like your jab is just negative on hit because it has follow-ups, including the PPK right there is -5 on block. You have PP, which is -12 on it's -12 on block, so that's unsafe. You also have PP6, PP, it's also unsafe, and they're both unsafe mid punches. So the recommended from this string off your jab string would be PP. You could do your PPK. With regards to some of the pokes I just showed you, 4P is a 15 frame track and mid punch. It's really good. It looks like Hayabusa's 4P is. 15 frame track and mids are really good. It has a couple follow-ups right here. You have 4PP, which is a +4 on normal hit. And you have 4PK, which is it's a negative guard break, but it pushes the opponent back quite a way, so it's a nice safe poke to throw out. And because it pushes back And because it pushes the opponent back a bit and is a guard break, some opponents might be hesitant to like push buttons right after. So you can use this one just if you want to like just kind of create space a little bit, which is generally with Raidou what you're going to be wanting to do is kind of like push your opponent away. Like with Raidou you don't really want to be in the opponent's face because that doesn't really suit him that much, and also the fact that he's not really that good at kind of like getting away from people, so you have to try and like find ways to try and push him away. Here, 7P is a 15 frame mid punch that's used to fish for a stun. On normal hit it just gives you plus 15, which can allow you to get an elbow or jab extension right there. But if you were to connect it on counter hit, which is what you're trying to do with it, then you get this big feint stun right here, and essentially you can just go for a launcher right away of your choice. So this move is really good on counter hit, and even on normal hit it's fine. It's just that 15 frames, it's not really something you use in close range of neutral, because that's what your elbow, jab, or 2P is for. With regards to your 2P, do not just normal. With regards to your 2P, I mean, this is really good. Being +1, and especially if you're going up against another grappler character, I mean, Raidou actually has a, depending on the character you're fighting, he might have a chance that he might be faster than them. Like, basically actually, very few characters have 12 frame 2Ps in general. Just really Ayane, Kasumi, and I think Phase 4, and that's pretty much it. So if you end up hitting on this, you can basically do your 2P for free. So something that you can do is like 2P, not 1P, 2P, then just go for your forward 16 or your 17 frame like offensive hold. Because what offensive holds do is their DOA 6's catch throws that beat the onset of strikes. So after you hit them with 2P and you do this right away, unless the opponent does something really fast back or they do a crush move, then you can basically just sneak this in pretty easily and just kind of steal some damage away from the opponent. With regards to crushes with Raidou, your go-to crush will be your 1P string. So that's 1PP, so that's a low punch, mid punch. But new to DOA 6, Raidou has a new 1P, 2P, or if you just hold 1 down the whole time. So down, back, and down, back, PP. So down, back, down, PP. So right there you get a double low attack. Similar to 4P, this also serves as your low tracking move. So 4P to stop tracking, and 1P as an alternative to stop tracking. So right now the opponent needs to guess between 1P, 2P, or 1PP. So that can be pretty handy. You get a better hit status when you get 1PP with a hard knockdown. You could wall slam too after it, where 1P, 2P only ends up doing a +6 trip stun, but both of those are still like really good options. As for a low crush, other than your massively -31 on block 7K, you also have your 3-3K right here, and also like 2-3-6K, even though that's a high, so if someone does a 2P it will just jump over it. But where 3K is basically your hop kick. I mean, a 15 frame jump in mid kick that leads into a bound is actually pretty freaking crazy. Along with 3-3K, you also have 9K, which is basically just Kasumi's 9K, and you also have, if you know the opponents to go for a really slow low, or if you have like you're doing it from a bit of range, you also have quarter circle back K, but this move is also pretty slow, but it also serves as a +4 guard break. So this move can be an approach move like on an opponent's wake up. After you do like a knockdown and you have an advantage over them, then you can use this move to try and get into your opponent's face at frame advantage, and you can like just try and sneak in a throw of like some sort on them. Alright, we're gonna take a look at Raidou for mid range here. This is the range that you should be focusing on trying to fight with Raidou, is around like mid range or like further out. From mid range, you can use pokes such as your 4PK, or with the second part being safe on block. So this is a good one, and again 4P tracks, so that's always good. You also have your 3K, which has a follow up in 3KP, which can cause a stun on normal hit, which gives you enough advantage to get a launcher. So other moves you can use is your 2H+K right here. So this is another high crush you can use along with 1P. Is your 2H+K, causes a trip stun on normal hit, and like most lows, it will be unsafe on block, so you have to be a bit careful with that. You can also use your 6K. So poke, it also does have a follow-up in 6K case, causes a small stun. You have 236p. So this move right here is what you want to do to try and basically just try and keep the opponent away. This move will also be used as the move after you get a bound hit off of 33kp. So this could be nice for just kind of just keeping the opponent away. Other moves you have is your 4H plus K. Similar to 4P, this one's another tracking move, but this one causes a stun on a little spin stun on normal hit, so you can end up following up with like a 3P or jab or something to be able to extend the stun, which is nice. You also have 66K. This move here is used for approach. It's basically Bayman's slide kick right here. So it ends up causing like a stun on. So he ends up giving you a plus 12 stun on normal hit. Unfortunately, that's not enough to get a jab because Raidou's jab is 11 frames, and you need it 2 frames in order to be able to follow up on like a stun of this sort. So with this though, with the plus 12, you can probably try and sneak in like an up. Like anytime when you have a certain amount of advantage, you can usually easily sneak in your 17 frame 660 offensive hold and basically kind of like steal some damage from the opponent. But still, I mean, plus 12 is really nice. Be careful with some of these pokes, such as like 6KK, which is like unsafe on block, or like 3KP, because these ones though, I mean, if you do finish the string and it gets blocked, then you are guaranteed throw punishable. So what you can do is just do the first part. Like with right here, this is your 3Ks, 15 frame mid kick, 23 recovery frames, and 23 recovery frames is pretty fast if you look at the top left part that says frame. So I'll just let you know, 23 frames, especially during neutral, is really fast, so you're not really going to get like whiff punished for doing that. And the follow-up is also very delayable, so you can kind of like sneak that in on people. Same with like 4P. You can use this as kind of a bait, and then when they get close enough, you could just throw the K on someone's block, so they're either going to get hit by it or block it, and either way you're fully safe, so that's always good. And as usual, 236p is it's really fast at 14 frames, but it's unsafe. So this move is just simply to keep people away, because Raidou likes his space. 4H plus Ks, if you're pretty much certain it's going to hit, because at 20 frames it is a little slow, but as you see, the twirl stun that it does give is pretty nice. Gives you the plus 18, which is enough for like a 3P follow-up. At long range with Raidou is basically where you want to be with him. Unless, of course, your opponent has the life lead and you eventually have to like run in on them, which is not optimal, and you can only really get away with the 66K gimmick so much before the opponent starts low blocking it, and where you also can simply do 66p. But at long range with Raidou, the opponent has to respect this projectile, not unblockable, this guard break move right here. So I'll just show you right now, if the opponent does block it, there will be at a... It is a guard break for Raidou, but... See, if you end up like doing it at range, or if you like could somehow get the opponent to block that, so you'll see at range you're at plus 23, but in close range it's plus 5. So the thing is that you can't really necessarily like do much with it, because yeah, if it was plus 23 close range, that would be pretty crazy. But it's also a 62 frame unblockable, and it is chargeable up to 90 frames. So I mean, this is the main purpose of this move, is something for the opponent to have to worry about at range, because you can sidestep it if you time it correctly. You can mid punch hold it, and blocking it's not like the worst thing in the world. Although honestly, I mean, for zoning purposes, you kind of don't care if the opponent blocks it, because as they block it, they're not really gaining any ground on you, and you're basically controlling their space if they end up blocking this. But I will let you know that the opponents are going to be mindful that at range, if you do want like a get in move from range, I mean, apart from just doing a 66K, you also have the 236K right here. It's only -2 on block. It also is a guard break. It's got really nice range at around 3 meters, 3.02 meters. So it's like Hitomi Zone 236K. It's like the moves are very similar. It's 18 frames, so it's really hard to react to, and its range is really nice. Honestly, this move's biggest weakness probably is that it's a high, and it is technically like linear, but honestly, people are... With the changes to how the sidestep attack is, people aren't really going to be spamming sidesteps as much, so you can get away with linear moves a bit more easier from going on out. So, but this move is still a nice move either way. To top it off, one People's K also builds meter for you if it gets blocked. You see right here, you get +8. If you look at the break gauge section, you get every time you do this on someone's block, you get +8. You build up +8 meters. So basically, you might think that Raidous are being scumbags for spamming this at range, but like I said, it's legit zone. I mean, this is almost like a 2D fighter technique to spam projectiles at range to build meter, and Raidou can do the same. Raidou's throw game is good. I mean that his stun launch game is already good, so it's quite fitting that he has a good throw game also. Like, he has a 5-frame neutral throw which can cause so there's 47 damage, can cause environmental damage to get the damage up to 57. He has a 53 damage 7T, which can also cause environmental damage. He has a 10-frame 3-3T, which deals 65 damage, which is pretty beastly for a 10-frame throw. It's basically Kasumi's 3-3T. It does just 3 less damage than Kasumi's own 3-3T, but Kasumi's 3-3T is 17 frames, and Raidou's is only 10 frames. And for his big throw, of course, it's the launcher throw, the quarter circle forward 4-6T. I'm not going to go over the I-12 underworld drop throw again because I already went over it in part 1, and as you can see from the third line, the input's kind of bullshit. But just for kicks, why not? As you can see right there, that deals 80 damage on normal throws, so on high counter, that's going to be like a crap ton. As you can see right there, on high counter, the underworld drop deals 128 damage. So if the opponent thinks of holding after you stun them with something, then they're going to be eating that 128 damage throw. If you take a look at the command list right here, you'll see around the middle section, you'll see a little icon that says OH. That stands for offensive hold. That is DOA 6's form of catch throws. So I think I might have mentioned it earlier that catch throws basically beat the onset of strikes, so you can use them to beat out strikes. As you can see here, Raidou has 3 main offensive holds, and one of them ends up having a few variations. Your main ones will be 6-6T. You have 3T for crouching, and your 6-1-2-3-4T, which has a couple variations. Here, let me just show you them right now. Alright, your main go-to offensive hold will be just simply 6-6T. You see, if you actually beat out a strike, you'll get 64 damage, but I'll just stick with normal for now. See, in general, you end up getting 40 damage for doing it. For Raidou's other offensive hold, I showed it in part 1, but I'll just show you it here again also. So he has his... the 6-1-2-3-4-T, basically the obnoxious input hold. See, there's 2 parts. You could just simply, after you do the, I'll just say crazy input into T, you get 70 damage. But if you can end up doing the part that has the, if you could do the part that does the double quarter circle forward, then you can get some juicy damage, and you can even knock people into stuff. See, as you can see with the offensive hold that ends with the double quarter circle forward T, you can end up blasting the opponent across and end up setting up like huge damage depending on how crazy you can get with the environment. Another thing about this offensive hold is it has huge range. See, if you end up just blasting the opponent back normally, and you end up getting 80 damage more than just simply doing that into the normal version, which just slows the opponent down and you get 70 damage. But you can also do this in front of you can also do this in front of in the environment too. And if you just do the normal one, it doesn't trigger the it doesn't in trigger environment, but there you see, instead of getting 70 damage, you get an 83 damage. But so in general, this is just simply like a really dangerous offensive hold. So in general, use a forward offensive hold to catch opponents who are snoozing and being defensive, and you end up using the 6-1-2-3-4 T offensive hold. Like, let's say when you're at a bit of range, you can maybe use it on an opponent's like wake up, but it's just the range is like so huge on it, so I mean it's a lot slower, so you're not really going to be using it in someone's face. But when you have a little bit of space, that's when you can end up trying to toss it out. To go along with Raidou's 2 standing offensive holds, just like other grappler heavyweight characters, he has a low offensive hold as 3T. So he looks a lot like Bass's 3T. It's 10 frames, deals 50 damage. So it's pretty standard offensive hold. And his low throw right here just knees the opponent in the head, gives you 52 damage. So yeah, not really the best low throw, but it's still decent. And of course, having a low offensive hold is always nice. And of course, Raidou has an air throw. And it's the same input as his offensive hold. Have fun with that. Raidou at a wall can be pretty interesting. I mean, just Raidou's damage output in general is just pretty terrifying, but with him at a wall, I mean, his damage output is strong in open space, and at a wall, it's no exception. I mean, you can wall slam, for instance, with stuff like neutral K on counter hit, 7P, and you can also do stuff like 6-6-6-6P ends up causing the small wall slam or small wall splat, reminiscent of DOA 4. 4PP also causes that, though, and stuff like. Well, you can't really do it with 9K, but yeah, but usually stuff like just K or 7P are your best bets because they're fairly reasonably quick moves. One thing that's really nice about Raidou is if you do wall slam your opponent, just do the first 3 hits of your fatal rush, and the 3rd hit ends up bounding the opponent, which is actually pretty cool. And with the bound, of course, free break blow attempt. You have to use the first 3 hits of the fatal rush because 3-3K ends up wall slamming the opponent. Like the first 3K wall slams, but the bound move, 3-3KP, ends up slamming the opponent. If you end up getting the small wall slump, just launch and go for the air throw. Satisfying damage every time. Alright guys, that's it for now. As you could probably guess, the primary thing to practice with Raidou is just his execution in general. Like you see that move right there, the 6-2-3-P. Like that one, of course, is going to take like a lot of time just for you to get down before you can like really like swag with it. But if you want, you can generally just go for the air throw instead if you have like trouble doing that move consistently. So you kind of get options. Another thing that's actually really neat also about Raidou is his general strikes. Like for instance, like his K, for instance, right there deals 30 damage. So just simply doing like KK does 48 damage. So that's basically a really nice damage K, and it's 13 frames too, which is actually fairly fast. Like most Ks are usually 12, 13, 14 frames. So a 13 frame high K that deals 30 damage is really nice. If you have any further questions, feel free to contact me on my YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, so that means leaving a comment down below. You can also contact Force of Nature on freestepdodge.com. And be sure to check out my other guides, such as my other character guides and my top tier tips advanced guides to get a nice overlook at this beautiful game that is DOA 6. And if you'd like to support this channel, feel free to join Top Tier Fighters. The support does help, and I thank and appreciate those that have joined. Anyways, this is Force Nature signing off. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Top Tier Tips.
Winner!